ora, no mai hara mai ki Playmakers podcast ko Ravinder Hunia tōku ingoa. UFC flyweight Cody Garbrandt will be up against the biggest challenge to date when he goes into UFC 269 against Cody No Love Garbrandt. Very, very exciting times, and to tell us all about it is Cody Garbrandt himself. Kia ora ka koe, Kai.
Kia ora, thank you for having me.
No problem. Now, it was one thing to hear the announcement that Cody wanted to make the change to the flyweight division, but how did you end up being the one who will give him his baptism into the division?
Yeah, it was making, like, my last fight was March. We've had to wait for this for a while. I had a few matchups for Cody, but then he was planning on making the move. So Eugene said, let's just wait. Let's see what happens. And yeah, it all worked out. We've got the date set. He's cutting weight to make flyweight for the first time. So it's a lot of questions to be answered. You know, how is he going to cope with the weight cut? How is he going to recover after he makes the weight? And then is he going to be the same? Is he going to be the same fighter that he was at back? He's never done this before, so you just don't know. So that's what makes it an intriguing matchup for fans, and stylistically, great matchup for me. Both strikers, both aggressive, but yeah, I see this as a title eliminator. Once I get past Cody, take out a former champ, I want a title shot after this.
100%. And I mean, right now you're ranked number 6, so you are steadily climbing, and for Cody to come in and you to get that matchup is a huge way to catapult you to that title shot. But you've mentioned it now. When you're moving weight divisions, it's all about that, isn't it? It's making the weight. He has to drop 10 pounds to be able to not only compete in, for the fight, but to perform at his best. You've made that cut before. Coming from bantam to flyweight. So what are the kind of things that he's going to have to go through, and how much of an advantage does this give you, because you've already been there for such a long time at this weight?
Yeah, it's you want to give yourself enough time. So for me, I've brought in professionals that know my body better than I do. Geordie, the fight dietitian, he's been with me from the start of my UFC career. He's the reason I make flyweight so easily, and then be able to perform the next day the way we do. So for me, yeah, there's nothing new. But for Cody, this is all uncharted territory. He's never cut down to 125, and he's been getting knocked out in his last few fights. So when you're taking away more liquid from your brain and you're making this drop, you just don't know if you can take those same punches. And questions to be asked is, how is he going to recover? You only get 24 hours to make the weight, and then you can fight at the next night, which it's going to be difficult. But for me, it's all new. I think I'm actually heavier than Cody. He doesn't walk around that heavy. He walks around at maybe 66. I walk around about 70 kgs, and I cut to 57 over like a 12-week fight. So for me, like, my body's used to doing that. Those last few kgs are gonna be hard. And then he's always had the speed advantage at bantamweight, but at flyweight we're all fast. So it'll be interesting to see if he's fast at this weight class.
Yeah, perhaps that comes down to battle of the nutrition, doesn't it? And you've worked with the fight dietitian for a little while now, and he was even struggling to make 135 at the best of times in bantamweight. So yeah, like you say, it's going to be very interesting to see how he is going to be able to adapt and take on this big, maunga that will be you, Cody Garbrandt, at UFC 269. But talking about Cody coming into the flyweight division, not long ago, maybe a year or two ago, you and I were talking about the flyweight division on its last legs and fighting for survival. Yeah. And now you have names like this who are trying to be a part of it. So Talk to us about how far you feel the flyweight division has come and you yourself being such an ambassador for its survival.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. I remember when I was making my UFC debut, we were talking, and yeah, people were saying, how's it feel to be the last flyweight fight ever? Um, we go up to bantamweight when they cut this division. You guys are boring. You don't put on exciting fights, but man, like the work that we've been putting in, like I'm pretty sure that every fight night there's at least one flyweight getting a bonus. I've had 3 of them so far, and this has got all the makings of being one of the fight of the nights on probably one of the best pay-per-views of the year. So UFC 269. It's pretty rare to see a flyweight fight on such a stacked main card, but it just shows that there's eyes that are watching and people are excited for this. And yeah, I just welcome it. It's all been bigger things my whole career. Having my first fight in Adelaide, being on pay-per-views after that. Now this definitely is my biggest test in my career, but I'm more than ready. I've been doing this for so long, train out of the best gym in the world, have the best coaches, and now it's all just going to align where I take out a former champ. I plan on putting the pressure on this guy. I've been training so hard for this. Even though we're in a lockdown in New Zealand, you can still control certain things, and for me, that's just dialing in my cardio, getting in all that work, doing all the extras before we start to get specific 8 weeks out from the camp, bringing my weight down early, and now it's just the fine tuning part. So my base is I'm already as fit as I can be. Before before this fight, I wasn't doing as much road and biking before. So I'm excited to see what kind of conditioning I'm coming into this fight. I'm going to put the pace on him, put him into deep water, and then I'm going to put him away. I want to make a statement. I want to stand out from such a stacked card, and this is my way to a title shot. I get a big finish here, and then I can get the rematch against Moreno. And it was a close fight, our first fight. It could have gone either way. I dropped him twice in the first round. He's done well since beating me, and now me being back in title contention. They're going to give Cody the title fight. So if I take him out, they can't deny me. So I see myself winning the title 2022 and bringing it back home to New Zealand.
Nice. What do you make of Cody? I mean, it's no secret he's been around for a long time. You've been able to, watch reels and reels and reels of his tape. But you mentioned that it's, Battle of the Two Strikers, which is super exciting. In a podcast this week, though, I hear him talking a lot about wrestling training, all the wrestling drills that we're doing. Are you expecting that from Cody, or do you think perhaps it's just him blowing up a bit of smoke to maybe throw you off the scent a little?
He's always going to go back to what he does. Like, his default is to just swing. You've seen it time and time again in his fights. And I've been in the sport for so long, it's hard to reinvent yourself. You really have to take time away and start from scratch. But what got him to where he is now is his aggressiveness, his power, and his knockouts. But it's a double-edged sword. You come in aggressive, you come in hot like he does, you can get caught. And that's what's been happening. So now, for his camps to say he wants to wrestle more, that's all good with me because I've got one of the best takedown defenses in the flyweight division. We wrestle just as much as we strike at City Kickboxing. So we'll be well prepped and well rehearsed in that aspect of the game. So yeah, I'll be prepared for wherever this fight goes. If we're going to keep it standing, if we're going to wrestle, I'm just going to out scramble him. I'm going to put more pressure on him and eventually put him away.
Absolutely, no doubt about that.
It's just you just got to set it all up. I know where he's dangerous. I know where I can get caught, but you just got to show up on the night and have a game plan that you're going to be sticking to, and then just back yourself. Once you smell blood, once you see an opening, you've got to take those moments. Just like my last fight in March, The guy was getting tired. He tried to take me out in that first round by on my back, and just had to weather the storm. And once we got back to our feet, I knew he was getting tired. I knew everything was laboured. So I just had to set it up, went to the chest, and then eventually found the home with the right hand. So I see myself finding a home for the right hand against Cody.
Talking about that road to the title, what were your thoughts on the Moreno-Figueiredo trilogy match coming so soon? The last two fights they've had have been against themselves, and the third will be the same. I'm interested to know what another flyweight who is trying to get to that title would think of that in terms of, okay, well, maybe in not so many words, but, when is it my turn or when is it someone else's turn to fight for that title? Are you surprised at how quickly a trilogy has turned around, seeing as in other divisions it could take maybe up to 2 years to get a trilogy?
Yeah, it is a weird time. There's been a lot of contenders that could have got the title shot. You got Askar Askarun, he's coming off a few wins, and then Alexander Pantoja. He's beaten Moreno twice, so I thought that would have been a given, but both guys are not available. So I guess Moreno wanted to stay active, and after I beat Cody, not looking past him at all, but once I get past him, I want a quick turnaround, and I want to fight the winner out of that Moreno and Figueiredo trilogy. But I don't think it's going to go any differently. I think Moreno's going to pick him apart on the ground and on the feet. I know Figueiredo is training with Henry Cejudo, but I don't think that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, especially when they've fought so closely, back to back. It would be kind of hard, like what you said, like to change that instinctual style of fighting. There hasn't been enough time to, as you said, reinvent yourself to try and bring a different challenge to the table. So I 100% agree with you there. In terms of your preparation though, Kai, I've spoken with Dan, I've spoken with Brad about getting ready during these lockdowns with these heavy restrictions and how much of a toll it's really had on you guys, in particular, the City Kickboxing gym. And there are, you have come out and said that when you go over to have this fight that you are perhaps not coming back home after it. You're going to stay there, stay active, and keep working towards that title and ensuring that you're getting fights and not having to combat all the MIQ and all that stuff happening here. So talk about that decision, because it's one thing to chase your dream and be so happy to do so, but it is a big deal to leave home, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be hard. It's a big decision, moving away from both our families. Me and my wife have such a tight network, but it's just what I have to do to progress in my career, to make a living, to put food on the table. I just have to pack up my family, and we have got to go overseas. So I'm excited. This is a new journey, and it's going to be exciting to be based overseas. But yeah, the MIQ system's not working. I think I'm going backwards in the queue now. Like, I started at 12,000. Now I can't get under 20,000 in the queue. So it's just ridiculous. And for us athletes, not just UFC athletes, but any athlete that represents New Zealand, it's just a tough position to be in. Being away from your loved ones, but everyone's in the same boat. It's not directed at anyone. It's just a frustrating time. So for us at City Kickboxing, we just have to do what's best for us, and base ourselves in America and be in close to where all the fights are. So at the moment, I'm not 100% sure where we're basing. Vegas, LA. It just depends where our coaches decide. But one thing's for sure, I'm taking my family, and whenever New Zealand opens up its borders again, then we can come home. So it's just what you got to do.
One thing Izzy has said in the past, Israel Adesanya has said in the past, was that, he has the luxury of going to America, fighting these fights, or Abu Dhabi or wherever it may be, and then retreating back to New Zealand and getting out of that hype bubble. What are the benefits of that? And is that something that perhaps City Kickboxing, yourself, Eugene, have discussed in terms of, there'll be a lot more exposure, a lot more eyes on you when you make this US move?
Yeah, there's been a lot of interest in us moving overseas. I know gyms are trying to get us to move to their facility. UFC fighters want to train with us. Getting a lot of DMs from other fighters saying if you guys are relocating, can we train with you guys? So the thing is, we've got to keep our circle so small. Like everyone's close to a title shot, if not the champion. So someone, they're trying to figure out what we're doing differently than everyone else. And being based in New Zealand, we could get away with it because no one really took notice. But now, if we're basing in America, we're going to be right in the heart of the fight game. So everyone wants to see what we're doing differently, and we just got to have to be careful, I guess. But this is a positive thing as well. More exposure, more companies wanting to work with us. It's only good things are going to come from this. So it's going to be hard to be away around Christmas time. We love to be close knit with our families, and my son is about 8 months now, so I want to keep him close with his family and his cousins and all that. But it's a great opportunity for us to go travel, continue like the world is right now. New Zealand's the most restricted country in the world right now. So for us, it's a privilege to be able to train, travel, make the most of it. And then when New Zealand catches up with the rest of the world, everyone's vaccinated, New Zealand's borders opens up, then we can base back again in New Zealand. So it's just a waiting game, really.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of New Zealanders will listen to this and be quite jealous that you will get to go and see a bit of the world. We're all sitting here with cabin fever, so good on you for taking advantage of that. But in terms of, the preparation that you've been undergoing for UFC 269, you also threw a wedding into the mix. So congratulations on getting married during lockdown. Amazing. It was great to see, one of those feel-good stories on social media. It's been quite glum and blue, but it was so cool to see that you and now your wife took full advantage and did, what you wanted to do anyway. So talk to us about having a wedding in lockdown and preparing for a fight. So much on your mind.
Yeah, it's crazy to say, and you just got to control what you can. And it was a decision that we obviously engaged, and we wanted to get it done, and we would love to celebrate with our families, but with so much uncertainty, me having to possibly leave early in this camp to go overseas, we just wanted to have a special moment in the backyard. My stepmom is a celebrant, so it just made sense. We had my mum on Zoom, so she was watching, and then my dad and my partners, or my wife's mum was there, and my son. So pretty intimate wedding, but we will have a big one when we renew our vows when New Zealand is back to normal. But for now, this is a special moment for us. But there's a bigger sacrifice happening here. Going overseas. I'm bringing them with me, and now we can focus on that now, and then celebrate after I get this win, and we can travel wherever we want to have a honeymoon and all that. So it's an exciting time, and I'm so blessed to have that support system where my wife will pack up all her stuff and just let me do what I need to do to further my career and support my family.
Yeah, I think people forget that. People forget, let's not beat around the bush. City Kickboxing Gym has been in the news a bit, in terms of restrictions and wanting to get in and out of the country. But that support is so important. And it's stories like this that remind us that at the end of the day, you are all human beings like the rest of us. And that this move is 100%, whānau focused as well as for your career. Everyone's trying to put, food on the table and provide. And this is one big step for you to continue to be able to do that. But in saying that, congratulations. It's awesome news, and I'm so happy for you. I think last time we spoke, you had just had Bubba at the time, so you keep going, elevating up like this. So good on you.
Thank you. Took them all off at once.
Yeah, why not? Moving on to what happens from now, moving forward to December. When I spoke to Brad, he spoke about that there's no New Zealand-based coaches going with him over for his fight. against Rafael. Is that the same for you? He has Alexander Volkanovski in his corner for his fight. What is your plan, and what does the support look like for you in America?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Dan will be based over there. Our wrestling coach, Frank, he'll be there. Brad would have just fought, so he'll be over there as well. All those coaches will probably still be there. So it just depends on what's happening with the rest of the coaching staff here. So I'm not too worried. I'll be well game planned in what I have to do. And yeah, that's why I've been focusing so much on things I can control. So I'll be ready regardless of who's in my corner. Once I go in the cage and square off with Cody, it's just me and him. So I've got a lot of experience, and I can't wait to show it come fight night.
Kia ora, kia koe kai, and all the very best. UFC 269 goes down on December 12th. You can catch it right here on Sky Sport and Sky Sport Arena. Remember, you can catch all the UFC action right here. Hei kona mai.